The United States has issued a strong warning that it may impose additional tariffs on India if this week's high-profile talks between U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska do not yield positive results. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent told Bloomberg TV on Wednesday that Washington could raise secondary tariffs on India, which currently stand at 50% following recent hikes linked to New Delhi's purchase of Russian oil. Bessent explained, "We've put secondary tariffs on Indians for buying Russian oil. And if things don't go well, then sanctions or secondary tariffs could go up," underscoring that the Biden administration is prepared to escalate trade pressure if the Alaska summit fails to make progress. Trump first imposed a 25% tariff on Indian goods earlier this year, before doubling it to 50% on August 7th as a penalty for India's continued oil trade with Russia. The U.S. president has repeatedly accused India of fueling the war machine through its purchases of Russian oil, warning that he will not be happy if such imports continue while the war in Ukraine rages on. Just hours earlier on Wednesday, Trump also warned Russia of very severe consequences if it refuses to halt the war in Ukraine following his meeting with Putin in Alaska.
Russia face any consequences if Vladimir Putin does not agree to stop the war after your meeting on Friday?
Yes, they will. Yeah.
What will the consequences
There will be
be?
consequences.
Sanctions, tariffs?
There will be, I don't have to say, there will be very severe consequences, yes.
Bessent also pressed European allies to strengthen sanctions, saying, "The Europeans need to join in these sanctions. They need to be willing to put on these secondary sanctions." He added that the president is creating his own leverage but needs Europe's support to increase pressure. Earlier this week, Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke by phone with Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, who urged India to support peace efforts aimed at ending the conflict. Modi reiterated India's consistent position, calling for an early and peaceful resolution, saying India is committed to contributing in every possible way and to strengthening bilateral ties with Ukraine. Responding to the doubled tariffs, Modi said India would not compromise on the interests of its farmers, even if it meant facing economic consequences. India's External Affairs Ministry called Trump's decision unfair, unjustified, and unreasonable, stressing that India's imports are based on market factors and aimed at ensuring the energy security of its 1.4 billion people. The ministry also pointed out that many of the countries criticizing India for buying Russian oil are themselves engaged in trade with Moscow. The U.S. warning comes on the eve of Friday's Trump-Putin summit in Alaska, where the two leaders will discuss the war in Ukraine, global security, and potential economic cooperation. Talks that could have major consequences for U.S. India trade relations. For the latest updates on U.S. India trade tensions and the Trump-Putin-Alaska talks, subscribe to the Indian Express YouTube channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss our live coverage tomorrow.